You know that sinking feeling, right?
Yeah.
Your smartphone,
Yeah.
your trusty sidekick suddenly bricks itself or maybe develops some really weird issue, and your heart just drops.
Oh, yeah. Because you know what's coming.
Exactly. Dealing with customer support, it's often a necessary evil, let's say. But what if some companies are actually good at it and others, well, not so much?
Right.
So today, we're taking a really close look at smartphone customer support. We're going to dive into the real-world experiences people have, specifically with two huge players in the Android space, Google and Samsung.
And what makes this deep dive particularly interesting, I think, is where we're getting our insights from. It's a super detailed article over on Android Authority.
Okay.
And it's not just like a general survey. It's one user's firsthand account over 10 years of dealing with customer service from both of these brands. You know, proper lived experience.
10 years. So they've seen some things.
Definitely. It charts a pretty surprising path, actually, through the best and, well, the worst of tech support.
Okay, so our mission for you today is to pull out the really important stuff here. What actually separates these companies' approaches? What are the maybe surprising trade-offs you face as a user? And, what does it all mean for your own tech choices? Because, believe me, the difference is, well, it's pretty stark. Here's where it gets really interesting. Let's kick off with the Samsung experience. Now, the author of our source article makes this core point. Samsung devices, often really praised for being reliable. He's owned a lot of them, apparently.
Right.
Every Ultra from the S20 to the S24.
Right. Solid hardware, generally.
But when things do go wrong, their customer support can feel like an uphill battle.
Yeah.
That phrase really jumped out at me, uphill battle.
Yeah, it paints a picture, doesn't it?
So what specific things happened? What made Samsung's support feel like such a slog for him?
Well, it seems to come down to this policy they have, at least in the UK where he's based. It's described as a repair-at-all-costs approach.
Repair at all costs.
Meaning they'll try and fix the phone pretty much no matter how extensive the damage is, rather than just replacing it. And that obviously impacts how long you're without your device.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
So take his S20 Ultra. During a video call, just a normal video call, the phone literally cooked its motherboard.
Wow, just fried itself.
Pretty much. And this wasn't a quick fix. It led to a 6-week repair process. 6 weeks.
6 weeks?
Yeah. They replaced the motherboard, 2 rear cameras, the battery, even the rear glass panel. Apparently that cracked when they were taking it off.
Oh, great. Added complication.
Exactly. And then, to make things even worse, the phone got lost in shipping on its way back for another week.
Oh, come on.
So all told, he was without his main phone for nearly 2 months.
2 months. That's an eternity these days. Without your primary device. Wow.
It really is. And the article doesn't really give Samsung's side on why they take so long or why they stick to this repair policy so rigidly. But the effect on the user is pretty clear. Long waits.
Yeah, no kidding. Was that the only example? Or were there others?
Oh, there were others. Get this. His ZFlip 4 had an unfortunate encounter with our fish tank.
Oh, dear. Water damage.
Yep. And even though he had Samsung Care, their extra warranty plan, it still resulted in a 5-week repair. 5 weeks.
Another long wait.
And they replaced almost everything. Motherboard, screen, hinge, frame, rear glass, all the cameras. The only original part left was apparently the small cover display on the outside.
So it was basically a new phone built inside the old cover display. But it took 5 weeks to do that.
Essentially, yeah. Which is a long time to wait for what's pretty much a replacement anyway.
And wasn't there something else, something about the wrong software? That sounded particularly bad.
Oh, yeah. That was maybe the worst part of the ZFlip 4 story. So after the 5-week wait, after the massive repair,
right,
the phone comes back, boots up, and it defaults to French.
French? Why French?
Exactly. And on the bootloader screen, the very first thing you see, it said ZFlip 4 Maison Margiela Edition.
The special edition. The black and white one.
That's the one, sold only in France. But his phone was the standard Bora purple.
So they flashed the totally wrong software onto it from a different region and a different model variant.
Yep. And the result was the phone was a complete mess. Constant UI crashes, weird warnings popping up. It was running an old version of Android. Just unusable.
Yeah, unbelievable. What did Samsung say?
Well, they admitted the repair center messed up, flashed the wrong software, but the solution, he had to send it back again.
Oh, no.
For another 3 weeks, just to get the correct software flashed onto it.
Wow. The level of incompetence there, almost? That's staggering after waiting 5 weeks already.
Yeah, the author was clearly, let's say, unimpressed. It really tested his patience.
I bet.
And then there was another issue with his next phone, a ZFlip 5. This time, the screen just failed. Spontaneously.
Like, did he drop it?
No, he said it was in pristine condition, babied it. Apparently, a little rubber seal came loose inside and got caught in the hinge mechanism when he closed it, and that just destroyed the screen from the inside.
Ouch.
Oh.
So like a design flaw almost, or just bad luck with the component.
It certainly felt like a potential design issue to him, but the really frustrating part was Samsung's initial reaction. They demanded the full cost of the repair.
What? Even though it just failed on its own?
Yeah, their reasoning apparently was that the component was engineered not to fail.
Engineered not to fail. On a folding phone hinge mechanism? That seems optimistic.
He thought it was ridiculous, too. Now, thankfully, he had Samsung Care again, which brought the cost down to £90. But still, having to pay anything for what looked like a manufacturing or design defect felt like a low blow, as he put it.
Yeah, I can absolutely see that. Okay, so that's Samsung. Repair-focused, long waits, sometimes some really baffling errors. Quite the uphill battle, indeed. So let's switch gears. What about Google? Because the article sets up this really interesting contrast, doesn't it? Especially given the author's history with Google phones.
It really does. It's kind of a paradox, he points out. He says his early Google devices, going back to the Nexus line, like the Nexus 6, Nexus 6P, and then the early Pixels, the XL, the 2XL, the 3XL, they had a terrible track record for breaking.
Oh, really? What kind of issues?
All sorts. He lists them. The Nexus 6 rear panel just popped off. The 6P either bent or the display popped out. Pixel XL had dead speakers. The 2XL got dead pixels and stopped taking pictures. The 3XL couldn't record video without crashing. I mean, it was a laundry list.
Wow, okay, so the phones themselves weren't always reliable back then.
Not for him, no. But here's the twist. Despite all those hardware problems, he says Google's support really looked after him.
Ah, okay. So the phones broke, but getting help was good. How did they manage that? What was different?
It comes down to their warranty policy, again, particularly in the UK. Unlike Samsung's repair focus, Google prioritizes replace right away.
Replace right away. So less waiting.
Massively less waiting. The process he describes is, your phone is faulty, you contact Google, they verify the fault, and then they ship out a replacement, either brand new or freshly refurbished, super quickly. Often, he says, in less than 48 hours.
48 hours. Compared to weeks or months.
Exactly. You get the replacement, you send your broken one back in the same box, and then Google deals with repairing and refurbishing that broken device to potentially use as a future replacement for someone else.
Okay, that sounds much less painful for the user.
Totally. He said this efficient process just made him feel cared for. It turns what could be a massive headache into like a minor inconvenience. And he also mentioned the support agents themselves were generally friendly, gave sensible troubleshooting steps first. The whole interaction was just smoother.
That speed, that efficiency. It's clearly a huge difference. Do we know why Google does it this way? Is it cheaper for them in the long run? Maybe. Or just to focus on customer satisfaction?
The article doesn't spell out Google's internal strategy, but yeah, the outcome certainly prioritizes the customer experience and minimizing downtime. Maybe they figure keeping a customer happy, even if a replacement costs more upfront than a repair, pays off long term.
Makes sense.
And there's a really recent, pretty compelling example of this in the article. It involves his grandfather's phone.
Okay.
His grandfather had a Pixel 6a, and the battery started to swell up, which is, a safety concern.
Right, definitely.
Yeah.
How old's the phone?
Here's the kicker. It was over 3 years old.
3 years. So way outside the standard warranty, right?
Yeah.
Usually it's 1 or 2 years.
Exactly. In the UK, it's typically 2 years manufacturer warranty. So this phone was well past it.
So he was probably expecting to have to pay for a repair or buy a new phone.
You'd absolutely think so.
Yeah.
But he contacted Google support via live chat, explained the situation, the swollen battery, and get this. Despite being way out of warranty, Google sent a refurbished Pixel 6a with a brand new battery and display to his door in less than 12 hours.
12 hours for an out-of-warranty phone with a swollen battery. Seriously.
Seriously. The whole thing sorted on live chat in under 30 minutes. He was obviously amazed.
That is genuinely remarkable customer service. Almost unbelievable.
Right. Just shows a real commitment, doesn't it? Though he did mention one funny little detail. The support agent suggested trying a different charging brick, which the Pixel 6a doesn't actually come with in the box.
minor detail in the grand scheme of things, I guess.
Yeah.
But wow, that level of support, especially out of warranty.
It's impressive. And what's really interesting now is how this history of strong support is starting to combine with something else the article notes.
Which is?
Improved reliability on the newer Pixel phones.
Ah, okay. So the phones themselves are breaking less often now.
That seems to be the trend, yeah. The author mentions that based on his own experience and that of colleagues and friends, the more recent models like the Pixel 6 Pro, the 7a, even looking ahead to the 9 series seem much more solid. Fewer hardware issues popping up compared to those older Nexus and early Pixel days.
So Google might be getting the best of both worlds now. Increasingly reliable phones and top-notch support if something does go wrong.
It certainly seems that way based on this account. You're not just getting great support for a phone that's likely to break, but maybe great support for a phone that's actually holding up pretty well to begin with. That's a powerful combination.
Okay, so what does this all mean then? Let's bring it back to you, the listener. You're standing there, maybe thinking about your next phone. How do you weigh this up?
Well, it really highlights this core dilemma that the author faced, and I think a lot of us face it too, right? He actually prefers Samsung's software he mentions, liking One UI, which is their Android interface, and he admits their hardware is often very reliable. His current S20 Ultra, for example, hasn't missed a beat.
Right, so he likes the day-to-day experience with Samsung, maybe.
Yeah, but that preference is kind of overshadowed by this significant fear of what happens if something does go wrong. That uphill battle with their customer support looms large in his mind.
And that contrasts directly with Google.
Exactly. Where you have maybe historically less reliable hardware, though, that seems to be improving drastically paired with consistently fantastic, as he calls it, customer support that gets you sorted quickly.
So the improved reliability of new Pixels just makes Google's case even stronger now.
Pretty much. It removes one of the big historical drawbacks.
And it really underscores how much that support experience matters, doesn't it? Like, it could genuinely be the deciding factor of someone choosing a phone, even if they maybe like the look or the features of another brand slightly more on paper.
Absolutely. That peace of mind, knowing that if the worst happens, the company actually has your back and won't leave you hanging for weeks or months, that's incredibly valuable.
Yeah, definitely something I value.
So just to recap then, we've seen this really stark difference, haven't we? Samsung's approach. Very focused on repair, which often means long, drawn-out processes, sometimes with frustrating errors thrown in.
The uphill battle.
Right. Versus Google's approach. Replace first, customer impact minimized, super fast turnaround times, even showing goodwill way outside of warranty periods. It's a night and day difference in philosophy, it seems.
And it highlights that even if you buy a phone that's known for being reliable, just knowing that good support is there if you need it.
Yeah.
A huge part of the ownership experience.
Couldn't agree more. It affects your confidence in the product and the brand.
So that leaves you with a final thought, maybe something provocative to chew on. When you're picking your next smartphone, how do you weigh those two things? The initial reliability you hope for in the device itself versus the peace of mind you get from knowing there's quick, caring, efficient support waiting if things go sideways. Is it better, maybe, to have a phone that might have a slightly higher chance of breaking, but you know it'll be replaced almost instantly? Or one that's maybe built like a tank and rarely breaks. But if that rare occasion happens, you could be in for a months-long ordeal.
Yeah. It's a really interesting trade-off to consider.
Definitely something to mull over as you navigate the ever-changing world of tech.